Welcome back. Today, the White House announced the first tentative trade deal since President Trump shook global markets with sweeping tariffs on major allies and rivals. The president outlined a new trade framework with the United Kingdom. He also hinted at a fresh openness to talks with China. From the Oval Office this morning, the president called the deal a great day for both countries.
I think really could be a great deal for both countries because it'll be really great for the UK also. So they're opening up the country. Their country is a little closed, and we appreciate that. They'll also be fast-tracking American goods through their customs process, so our exports go to a very, very quick form of approval, and there won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one.
Despite this, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says the UK will still face a 10% universal tariff.
So here's what we've got. We've opened up new market access, ethanol, beef, machinery, all the agricultural products. They've agreed to open their markets, and that will add $5 billion of opportunity to American exporters. So the question is, why would they do that now? Because they've never done it before. And we still have our 10% tariff on, which will produce $6 billion of revenue for the United States.
On Wall Street, stocks finished in the green, buoyed not only by news of the UK deal, but also Mr. Trump's potential willingness to lowering the 145% tariffs on China. Listen.
Well, it could be. I mean, we're going to see. Right now, you can't get any higher. It's at 145, so we know it's coming down. I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I expect to have a very good relationship with China, Scott. I think it's a very friendly meeting. They look forward to doing it in an elegant way. China, as you know, has a tremendous trade surplus with us, and we can't, we just can't have that. And but I think it's going to be very good for both countries. I would like to see China opened.
The comments come as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer prepare to meet with their Chinese counterparts this weekend in Switzerland. I'm joined now by NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell and NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung. Thanks to both of you for being here today. Kelly O, let me start with you. Really notable to hear President Trump talk about China in the context of a potential willingness to soften some of those tariffs that he imposed, 145%. There's no doubt that the standoff with China is one of the biggest concerns for Wall Street. What are your sources telling you about that softening of his tone?
Well, what's so striking about that, Kristen, is only yesterday he was asked if he would be willing to lower that tariff rate as a way of sort of launching negotiations with China. He flatly said no. He had said no previously. And yet today he sort of indicated that, well, of course it would have to come down at some point because it's so high. That is in a capsule the uncertainty that the markets and other countries are dealing with, that the president says one thing with a lot of passion behind it on one day and then may adjust or, as he likes to say, be flexible on another day. Clearly, what is heading into this weekend is important with China. Secretary Bessent will be headed to Switzerland, where he will be meeting with Chinese counterparts. And the president today said he expects those will be substantive conversations. So there is a potential for some movement here. He also said that he'd be willing, depending on how the talks go, to have a phone conversation with President Xi of China at some point after that. Eventually, they will, of course, talk, but the cadence of when they will talk and what the signals are always a part of the tea leaf reading that goes along with this. The White House certainly also wanted to have some kind of event that signaled progress on tariff negotiations, and today they had that with the specifics, and it opened up to extend to the conversation about China.
So let me follow up with you, Kelly, about that exactly. The president announcing a framework of a deal with the UK. Based on your reporting, how close are the two sides to actually finalizing that deal?
Well, again, that's the critical point here, because this is like a save the date from the administration. They have introduced a new event to say we have a framework. There are very positive things. Keir Starmer, the prime minister, spoke about it. You had members of the cabinet who were present who talked about elements of the benefits regarding agriculture and the opportunity related to automobiles, that there is a reduction of tariff on automobiles and steel. But the 10% tariff remains in place. So the president indicated that there is more work to do to bring this to a formal agreement. But this gave them a flag to post in the ground to say progress has been made on negotiations. The United Kingdom is not certainly one of the big trading partners with the United States. So that's also a way of kind of gauging how this is an incremental step. Positive, the administration says, but still some work to do.
Yeah, and Kelly, I think it's such a smart way to describe it, a save the date. Thank you so much for starting us off, for your great reporting as always. Brian Chung, let me head over to you. Start right there. Kelly O says this is a save the date. How big of a deal is today's announcement? Wall Street did finish in the green.
Yeah, Wall Street did like it, but I think it's not necessarily because of just the U.S. and the U.K. economics and what this deal means for them, but in the totality that this agreement does point to progress being made perhaps with other countries as well. If we just zone in on exactly what's going on with this particular trade deal, yes, it is indeed the case that the United Kingdom is a major advanced economy. Many people might be familiar with, our relationship historically with this country. But in terms of trade itself, we have a trade surplus with the U.K., which I think is worth mentioning here, as the administration has been oftentimes using the tariffs as a rhetorical tool to say we need to reduce our trade deficit with other countries. The UK buys a lot of stuff from the United States. In fact, only 4 countries import more U.S. goods than the UK, that according to the U.S. Trade Representative's data. So again, this is pretty impactful in terms of the overall tariff story. But in terms of just our relationship with the UK, it's not like there are too many British-made goods that Americans are buying on a daily basis that Americans will see in terms of a day-to-day wallet impact here, Kristen.
And Brian, Howard Lutnick is saying the UK will still be subject to a 10% universal tariff. So what exactly is in the deal for the UK?
Yeah, this is a really important point here, is that, yes, the 10% tariff is still in effect, which is the reason why when the president had, prior to the announcement, described this as a full and comprehensive deal, it's not necessarily the case. But look, what the UK gets out of this deal are concessions like, for example, the ability to sell cars to the United States up to a 100,000 cap at a 10% tariff instead of the 25% tariff that the rest of the world faces. That's the reason why Keir Starmer, those images that you see on the screen ahead of you, made this announcement at a Jaguar Land Rover plant, where this is pretty impactful, the ability to continue to export to the United States at a cheaper rate than the rest of the world will be paying. Another thing that's really important about this deal is that UK steel will now be able to enter the United States at a 0% tariff as opposed to a 25% tariff. That is a big deal. And also the UK does say that they're going to have reciprocal market access, as the United States is going to be able to increase their exports of beef to the UK. The UK will also be able to, in some cases, send beef to the United States without tariffs as well.
All right, Brian Chung, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.